All right.
So let's move on to chapter 10. This is when we get to the good stuff.
Yeah, this is where shit starts to get criminally insane. Mosquitoes. Okay, so this one, I don't know, kind of
Follows up to the spiral. Kyrie's in the hospital.
It follows after the lighthouse, yep. So she's in the hospital getting treated for her burns, and apparently, the town is swarming with mosquitoes. One day, her friend visits. They're walking around outside the hospital, and they find this dead woman with a bunch of, little holes in her. Eventually, one by one, a bunch of pregnant women get rushed into the hospital due to, mosquito swarm attacks. And one of these women is Kyrie's cousin, Keiko. I'm just going to say Keiko.
Yeah.
And, they're all in the maternity ward.
And aren't they all covered in, mosquito bites, too?
Yeah, because they got attacked by a swarm of them. So, yeah, Kyrie goes to visit her. She notices that inside, a bag that her husband brought is, this weird object that's all wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
She asks about it, and her cousin's like, don't worry about that. So, that's that. And then the next morning, there are several patients that are discovered dead, similar to the woman outside of the hospital that Kyrie found, all with these little, pinholes in them. And it's the hospital's going crazy. They don't know what's going on.
Obviously, Shuichi has some weird theories about the spiral behind it and the mosquitoes. Because a bunch of the mosquitoes keep spinning around in spirals, too.
Yeah. So, yeah, Shuichi appears for, the first time since, what was that, Jack in the Box. Mm-hmm. He's all paranoid and shit. He's, glancing around. The thing I really like is that they write in glance to, indicate that he's, looking around all dodgy-like.
Yeah.
I find kind of weird because, your eyes don't make noise when you glance around. What is that? So he sees a mosquito, he flips his shit, starts spraying it with a can, he gets kicked out of the hospital. So then
it's at night, and this is when shit gets real.
Oh yeah. So Kyrie hears this weird zzz noise, whatever. Thinks it's mosquitoes, but then discovers there's not any in her room with her and her cousin. Oh yeah, her cousin got moved to her room because of reasons, I forget why, but they're in the same room. So she goes to look out in the hallway, and what she sees is a army of freaking pregnant women who look stoned out of their damned minds, marching down the hallways, going into all the other patients' rooms. And they all got...
They're all carrying crank hand drills.
Yeah. So Kyrie's like, oh, what are the drills for? She hears little squeeze sounds, and then she looks in one of the rooms, and there's a pregnant woman drilling into a guy and drinking his blood.
It's freaking awesome. So yeah, pretty much what you need to know is that all of the pregnant women have now become these weird mosquito zombies. They're called... The reason why this one's called mosquitoes is because apparently only pregnant female mosquitoes actually suck blood because they need it for their babies. So you just have all these crazy pregnant women that are just going around the hospital at night and just drilling open random people and sucking their blood. It's so freaking cool and creepy just because you got zombies and then you got hospitals. Those are the two scariest things you can have,
Tropes.
Yep, tropes.
Didn't think you'd find them here.
They're freaking hypnotizing people. They're eating the nurses and stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously Kyrie can see all this and she's trying to escape from it.
So yeah, she goes back to her room after getting chased by the zombies who, I don't know, they're not really trying to attack her too aggressively. And then she gets in there, kind of locks the door, and then she notices her cousin's standing over her with a drill. She's like, give me your blood.
Yeah, and I didn't notice this before, but the weird object that she got from her husband was the crank drill.
Right. Yeah.
So she's just standing over with the drill. It's this is a slasher movie. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a complete change of pace. So then she, all the other zombies break in, and then Kyrie thinks it's over, and then she notices that the spray can that Shuichi brought in was still left in the room, so she starts spraying it, and they're all panicking, and they all get shooed out.
Mm-hmm.
So she lives to fight another day.
Yeah, it's cool because it's a victory because like she does survive and stuff. But even still, like at the end, it just ends with her like still in the hospital, knowing that at night all these pregnant women are just gonna start eating people and stuff. There's a really cool panel at the end where it's just all of the pregnant women standing around together looking at their babies.
Yeah, and
the babies that are nourished from human blood.
Yeah, and then like there's a couple there's a couple of lines. It says all traces of the drills and blood-soaked gowns disappeared the next morning. I hate to think their husbands took care of that. Oh boy, those guys are whipped.
Yeah.
But then again, if your pregnant wife is going around sucking people's blood, you don't want to be next.
Yeah.
Jeez,
some dudes will do anything to please their pregnant wife.
Yeah, so... Holy crap.
I give this one a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, definitely. This one's just insane. It's just such a change of pace from the last two, which were really like mild.
Mm-hmm.
And it is awesome. And speaking of a extreme like spike in pace or whatever you want to call it, the kill count is through the roof on this one. So it's about, I'm estimating about 20, because you don't see every dead body, but there's about 13 of the pregnant women, and then there's like 7 other bodies or whatever that are found throughout the story, or people you witness getting drilled into. So yeah, that is a high kill count. And then for mutated, you can pretty much count the pregnant women, all 13 of them.
Yeah, because they pretty much turn into weird zombie things.
Yeah. But yeah, holy crap.
This one better be in the anime. If it's not, I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, like, I think this is probably the goriest one, or close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't know
this
if they're,
one at
like...
least has the most blood.
Yeah, like, I don't know if they're trying to, like, stay with, like, a TV-14 or whatever, but I don't know if that's going to matter much if it's going to be all in black and white.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, you know, if they're going for MA, yeah, they could probably get away with this one. But guess what? The next story is a direct lead-in from this one. The umbilical cord, and this is where things reach DEFCON 1 levels of beyond borked. Oh boy.
Just remember when we first bought this comic, you just texted me, you're like, hold on to your butts when you get to this chapter.
Yeah. Okay, so Kyrie is still in the hospital, and all the pregnant women are now giving birth to their babies.
They are still eating people's blood. What is it? She runs into Kiko again, and she's like eating a blood bag in one of the bathrooms. So like they are still killing people.
Yeah. So like she's telling like the doctors like, hey, I saw them kill people, and they're thinking she's out of her damned mind, and like everybody's giving her weird looks. She even tells her family, and they're like, no, why would you accuse your cousin of being, I don't know, doing such a terrible thing? Freaking idiot. Like everybody's getting her weird looks. But because there's a police investigation, like I guess security is kind of amped up in the hospital, and like there really aren't any more attacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, she discovers her cousin like with a stolen blood pack from somewhere, drinking it in a bathroom. Yeah, but then her cousin gives birth, and then I think that was the last baby. She's like looking at them in the nursery, and it's like, oh man, that is a sweet looking baby. It's like, despite it being fed with human blood. My goodness.
But then pretty soon all of the babies start becoming fat.
Yeah, so like Kyrie, like all the recent, or all the new mothers are like with their babies, and like I guess Kyrie comes up with them. The doctor's like, oh yeah, these are the best newborns I've ever seen. And then Kyrie's like, oh, why are their stomachs so swollen? And then like one of the babies kind of like gives her like a weird look, and then starts crying. And like then all of them start crying, and it's like a spiral of like, I don't know, noise
crying.
Going into.
She freaks out, and then she falls down the stairs, and she's not gonna get let out of the hospital anytime soon now.
Yep, and then her mom like starts yelling at her, oh, you stupid idiot.
She has such nice parents.
Yep, she has to stay another week. So...
She's okay with that, though, because the food they have there is really good.
No.
There's these new spiral-shaped mushrooms everybody keeps eating.
Yeah.
She doesn't actually like them, right?
Right, she's like, are these really mushrooms? They taste like meat.
Yeah. But everybody else in the hospital is losing their minds for these mushrooms.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they're freaking great. Oh, yeah.
You know craps hit the fan when people like the food they get served in the hospital.
Yeah, and it's like when they, like, when they're showing, like, people talking about them, they look like blitzed out of their freaking mind. Oh, jeez. So, yeah, so Kyrie's not really feeling good because her ears are, like, ringing because I guess the baby's crying kind of got drilled into her head or whatnot. She walks past the nursery and notices, like, she hears, like, voices, and then she finds all the babies.
This part is so weird.
Yeah, talking to each
all
other.
These dumb babies having this stupid conversation, and they're like, yo, this place sucks, bro. We should go back into the womb. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
that was fun. I feel like I know people like these babies that just...
Yeah,
oh, man.
They're like, yeah, like... It's like, oh yeah, can we really go back to the womb? And then one of them's like, oh yeah, the doctor will do it. He took us out, he can put us back in. It's like, Makio's being returned right now, which, that's the name of Kiko's baby, so Kyrie's second cousin, I guess. I don't know how that works, but yeah. So yeah, so then, like, one of them's like, oh yeah, I'm getting excited, my belly's rising. So, like, and then Kyrie notices this weird, like, mushroom-like object rising from, like, the baby's belly. And then that makes her freak out. And she's, like, thinking, it's like, oh, Mikio is being returned. She notices she's by the delivery room and, like, hearing a bunch of screaming. Starts banging on the door, breaks in, and notices a shit ton of those weird mushroom things growing in the delivery room floor. It's like what she saw rise out of the baby, off the baby. It's like, what is this? Then the doctor comes out of a room in the back.
Here we have the creepy doctor archetype, which, come on, dude, it's cool. Everybody likes scary doctors.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he's like Kyrie's freaking out. She's like asking where her cousin is, where her cousin's baby is. Like, is everything all right? And then the doctor just goes on this rant. He's like, oh, baby mammals are cute. It's a weapon used by infant children. They use it to influence adults, get attention, because they need us to survive.
Not these freaking babies, though. They just turn into these dumbass mushrooms.
Yep, so what happens is, apparently the umbilical cords from these babies would grow back after being cut, and it would even restore the placenta, which is the weird, like, dome part of the mushroom thing that she was seeing. And so, like, the guy was like... It's like, oh yeah, it's like, these children want to be returned to their wombs. Like, Kyrie is, like, starting putting two and two together. She's like, oh, these mushrooms aren't mushrooms. It's like, they're placentas.
Yeah.
Then the doctor's like, you know, yeah, just, like, look at all of them, because it's, like, the room's filled with the sons of bitches. It's like, I just had to try one. It's like, oh yeah, it was delicious, it revitalized me.
So yeah, in case you can't tell, the mushroom soup that everybody's been loving at the hospital is made from the weird little baby mushrooms. And then I'm not sure about this. So can the babies only produce one mushroom, or do they?
No, it would grow back.
It would grow back.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
like the one in the nursery. Remember, it rose back. But like, yeah, you would like,
yeah.
If it got cut off, it would grow back. But yeah, so like the doctor's like, oh yeah, if it was fed to the sick, wouldn't they get better? So then pretty much she like gets back onto the topic of her cousins. Like, hey, is Kiyoko in that back room? She's like, oh yeah, the mother and child are in that room. He's like, oh, it's okay, the procedure went well. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then she finds her cousin on an operating table, who is now pregnant again.
Yep, they freaking cut her open and shove the baby back inside her stomach. Pretty freaking creepy.
So yeah, then the doctor shows up. He's like, oh yep, she has to start feeding the baby with blood again now to nourish it. So then like she's like, oh yeah, doctor, I need blood. So then the doctor like takes Kyrie hostage. It's like put her near him, and so now apparently the cousin has this weird like drill mouth thing.
Yeah, it's like this weird like little like scorpion tongue thing. It's got like barbs and like a little drill at the end and stuff.
Yep.
But instead of eating Kyrie, she goes and starts sucking the blood out of the evil doctor.
She turns him into a raisin, pretty much.
Oh yeah. Again, this one dials it up to 11 pretty fast. We have this weird, creepy. I mean, I guess she's not. I guess she's technically a zombie, but this big, weird, cut up, freaky looking girl with a drill mouth chasing him down, and.
So yeah, Kyrie's trying to escape, and then the cousin's like, "Oh, I need more blood." And Kyrie's like, "Oh shit." But fortunately, two dumbasses from outside the room notice the delivery room door is open. It's like, "Oh, there's the mushrooms. This is where they come from." So they start eating them. And so Kyrie's cousin goes after them, starts draining them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, I escaped from the hospital. I have no idea what happened there after that. I wasn't about to go back and find out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's the two in the hospital are pretty fun. I mean, the whole thing with the babies talking is pretty weird, but like overall, I really like both of these stories.
Oh yeah, like you were saying, like I really like this one. It's really weird. It's also really gross, kinda. Like I would say it's the third grossest Junji Ito story ever written, after like number 2 being Yo, and then number 1 being Greased. Please look those up if you're curious. Yo's kind of like one of his longer formed ones. I talked about that in the year in review. But Greased, holy shit, that thing is disgusting. but yeah. Then I don't know, like apparently eating the placenta is like a thing that actually happens sometimes. Other mammals do it.
I know that insects will do it.
But apparently it was also like some cultures would do that too, and apparently like there were some celebrities promoting eating the placenta because apparently it's like really high in protein, which is really gross sounding, I know, but at first I thought it was like Gwyneth Paltrow that would like promote something like that, but then I remembered she's like vegan or whatever. Yeah, so it's like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
But either way, see, I guess the whole idea of the doctor trying to feed the placenta to his patients, that kind of has some like
real world
application or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but still, that's yucky.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they throw it away.
But it's a fun story. I'd probably give this one 4 out of 5 Junji Ito heads. It's not. I don't think it's as good as the Mosquitoes one, but this one's still pretty good.
Yeah, I would go with a 4.5 because even though this one's I think this one's shorter than Mosquitoes, but it is it is not any less crazy. In fact, it's probably even more crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like holy crap. So definitely if they adapt Mosquitoes, they will probably throw this one in too.
Yeah.
Since they kind of run together.
Mm-hmm. This one does have a bit of nudity in it. Kiko is naked when she's trying to eat everybody.
Yeah.
So again, if they do like a TVMA, they'll be able to put it in. They might have to change it up a little bit. If they don't, though, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
It's not much though, so they shouldn't have any issues censoring it if they have to.
Yeah, it's just boobies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the kill count on this one?
Okay, so this one, well, surprisingly, has a smaller kill count than the Lighthouse, because it's pretty much the doctor and then those two idiots that tried to eat the mushrooms at the end. Well, I mean, they only showed the one of them getting drained by Kiko, but I'm gonna assume the other one got it too.
Mm-hmm.
She may even went on a rampage after that. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I probably would have showed up in the news. So yeah, I'm gonna assume those 3. So 3. Kilo 3.
All right.
And kind of a mutate with the cousin. She got remutated. If she even was unmutated to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely with that tongue.
Yep.
No longer human.
Yep. All right. So I guess this will do Chapter 12 now. This will be the last one we talk about. This one here, Chapter 12, The Storm, is actually one of my favorites, and I think it's one of the more underrated stories. But basically, the premise is that a huge typhoon shows up, and this is the first time we really get to see, like, the fact that the spiral is like some kind of intelligent force, because the typhoon is actually like alive and it's trying to kill Kyrie and what's it called, Tsuichi. And I just think this one's just a lot of fun, just because, well, first off, the idea of like an actual living storm is something I've always thought was really cool, like a sentient weather event, you know, like a natural disaster, but it's like sentient. And I think it's also cool just because it kind of feels like, you know, the whole story, like, because the spiral isn't really directly targeting those two at this point, but like I feel like at this point in the story you're far enough in that like the spirals kind of became like aware that these two are like, I don't know, that the spiral needs to kill these two kids because they're just been able to outrun them so many times and are been trying to stop the spiral's chaos and stuff. So it's like, almost like it just goes like full out in this one, and it's just them trying to kill it. And it's cool because it's like both of them versus this typhoon. And what's cool is like the eye of the storm is actually like its actual eye, and they're like trying to hide from it and stuff. And I don't think it ever says like I can see you, but like there's a part where they're hiding underneath a bridge and like a sign flies by, and like the sign has like a mirror or something on it that reflects it, and it can see them underneath the bridge. Also, a bunch of people die in this one. It's just sucking people up and throwing them back down. But what's cool about this one is that Kyrie and Tsuichi are able to outsmart the spiral and still manage to survive at the end. And it takes them a while, and they have to try a couple different things. But I don't know. That's what I legitimately like about this book and the storytelling, is that you have these weird, just ridiculous, crazy ideas of like these pretty much unstoppable forces, and yet you have these two kids that are able to work through it and like beat this, you know, weird eldritch god type thing, you know. So I personally really like this one. It's got a lot of fun action. The art isn't as impressive in this one. I mean, there's still some cool sections, and obviously the big eye of the storm is pretty cool as well. But what's fun about this one is that like it pretty much goes and destroys their whole city. Like for the rest of the story, you know, it's no longer like small scale stories. Like there's just big things happening, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's, the spiral has officially like taken over at this point.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, you pretty much covered it. Like, I do want to say that I do think the artwork in this is pretty good. It's nothing like too crazy, but you just look at it and there's like a lot of, there's a lot of individual panels, even tiny ones that probably took a long ass time to pen out. It's like, holy crap. And it's like there's this one, it's like a 2-page spread of them getting sucked up into the eye of the storm, which looks really, really neat. But like it's all kind of, I don't want to say utilitarian, just serving a purpose rather than like just being a full-on spectacle. But I think it still looks pretty good. And then as far as the story goes, like I think it's a little bit more mild, to say the least, but it's still like,
it's not dark and weird like
no.
the past two stories were. But it still is very much like an Uzumaki spiral story, you know?
Yeah, it's like I could have seen this one like taking place during like in the first volume, like even before like the two hospital related stories.
Yeah.
Because I know you said that there are a lot of deaths, but there's really only one on panel. It's like a lady that gets sucked up because the storm thought she was Kyrie.
Okay.
Then she gets spat back down and like go splat. But just seeing all the other houses get wrecked, I'm going to assume there's probably like other people that got injured too or whatever, but like I think we can only officially say one.
Okay.
No mutated people either. But I don't know.
All right. Well, I give this one a 5 out of 5 Junji Ito heads. Like I said, this is one of my favorite stories. I really like this one. I hope it'll be in the anime, but obviously I can't say that I know it will be.
I'm kind of confident that it will be, especially like depending on how much they adapt from Volume 3. I'm pretty sure this one would have to be in there.
I guess that's true because I mean it destroys the city, and the rest of them is they're all trying to survive. So
Yeah.
I guess that would make sense. He would have to have it.
And it destroys her like family home too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it pretty much sets up the next story in Volume 3 and pretty much the rest of it, even though it doesn't seem as consequential. But yeah, like I would give it a 4 out of 5. Just because like juxtaposed by the last two, it just seems so like mild by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a bad story. It's definitely not the worst in this volume, and it moves.
Yeah.
It definitely moves. As far as length, oh, this one's actually pretty dang long. Maybe I'm just crazy. I'm crazy. It might be a little bit longer than umbilical cord.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 out of 5, maybe a 4.1 out of 5, just to make Robbie happier. Yeah.
Very cool, very cool.
Alright, so let's do a ranking of the stories real quick.
Okay.
So what would you say, well, I think you already pretty much said which the worst one to you is. You'd say the snail, right?
Yeah, so for me, the snail is my least favorite, in this volume, at least.
Yeah, okay. I would have to agree with that. And then number 2, I would say, is probably the lighthouse.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that.
Let's see, okay. The next couple ones for me, I don't know, are kind of equal. So like tied for, I guess it would be third place for me would be Jack in the Box and the Storm. I'd probably rate Jack in the Box maybe slightly higher than the Storm, but they're still pretty good.
Yeah, for me, I think I have Jack in the Box and Umbilical Cord on the same. I think Umbilical Cord I would put above Jack in the Box.
Okay.
But then for me, I would go Storm, and then Mosquitoes is my favorite.
Okay, so yeah, then the next two for me would definitely be Umbilical Cord, then Mosquitoes at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, that's actually pretty similar.
Yeah,
just a little bit more movement around.
I feel like there's a big increase in quality between snails and the Black Lighthouse versus all the other ones. Like overall, this is a very solid volume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely quality-wise, I would say it's pretty solid. Maybe not the most consistent, since, you know, there is that dip with Snail kind of... Well, that's not really in the middle. Well, Snail and Black Lighthouse, I'd kind of say, are the dip. Then it ramps the shit up at Mosquitoes, and then I guess it kind of rides it smoothly down into Storm.
Mm-hmm. How would you compare this to the first volume?
I would definitely say that it's really hard for me to say, actually, because I know Volume 1 starts out really damn strong, and actually ends pretty strong too with Medusa.
Yeah.
But
there's a couple in Volume 1 that I'm not a fan of. Like,
yeah,
I think overall I like these ones better, but I think I might like Volume 1 more just because the ones in Volume 1 I like a lot. And I really like Storm, I really like Mosquitoes, but I feel like the like Medusa and stuff are all very high on my list.
Yeah, because I think what happens with Volume 1 is you get a dip after the third story. It's like halfway through you got the firing effect in Twisted Souls, which I'm just gonna say it right now. I think Twisted Souls is pretty much the most forgettable one out of this entire book.
I agree. I think it's probably the worst one.
I wouldn't say worst, but yeah, it's definitely the most forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately for us, I guess Volume 2 kind of ramps up a bit more.
Yeah, the stakes are definitely higher in Volume 2, which I like.
Definitely, but it like doesn't start out like on the strongest foot. Like it works its way up, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. So cool. You want to do a total kill count for Volume 2?
Holy crap. So let's start with Mutate. So Mutate is, let's see, 1, So 18 people mutated. Well, actually, let's call that 17 because one of them's Kiko, who gets mutated and then unmutated and then mutated again, or something. As far as kills go, so we got 1 for Jack in the Box, and then the 8 from Lighthouse. That's 9. An additional 20 from Mosquitoes, and then 3 from Umbilical Cord and 1 from Storm. Oh crap, I lost count. So 1 plus 8, 9, plus 20, 29, plus 3, 32, then the 1 confirmed one from Storm. So that's 33.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, I hope I added it up correctly. I should have had a
If not,
total.
someone else can do the math and put it in the comments.
I want to say it'll be Greg, but I don't know if he actually has been watching these.
Yeah, well, I don't think he has the comics, so he can't really go back and try to correct us. But, I don't know. Let's see. And I guess that's really all we have to say about this section.
Yeah, really. So, yep, definitely, I don't know if we asked this for our last one, but if you have read Uzumaki, just let us know what your favorite stories from Volume 2 were. If you agree with our ranking, with our ratings. And as always, rate it out of creepy Junji Ito heads. We do not recognize any other unit of measure.
Yep. All right, nice. Thank you so much for listening. We will come out with Volume 3 and 4, hopefully sooner.
There is no Volume 4.
There isn't?
Nope, it's just Volume 3, and then extra bits.
Okay, yeah, so hopefully Volume 3 will come out sooner. There'll be less time between this one as we did with 1 and 2. Hopefully we'll have more news on the actual, anime, and I think we'll probably do some more Junji Ito other related stories before the anime comes out.
Yep, definitely keep an eye out for another worst of video. Most likely. Maybe not a worst of, but runner-ups for worst of.
Yeah.
And then other related stuff. But yeah, it's all going to be dependent on when this damn anime is actually going to come out.
Which at this point could be not even this year. It could be next year. Who knows?
Don't say that.
All right. Jeez. All right. That puts a conclude to our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.